And I thought that today I would show you how to look at a blank screen and make something happen. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to write one of my podcasts, or at least get somewhere on it for the next 30 minutes. And we're going to lay down the basics. I'm going to show you how I do it. How you do it may not be the same, but we'll see how that goes. First of all, this one is about how AI is really human. And as you can see, I'm using voice recognition. I'm going to turn that off for a second so I can explain it. What I usually do when I write a podcast is I just dictate or record, either one, for about 10 minutes, 8 to 10 minutes. That's the length of the podcast. The podcast is about 8 minutes. So I dictate for about 10 minutes so that when I edit things out, it'll be about 8 minutes, 10 or 11 minutes. So the first thing I do is just talk about AI. And to do that, I'm going to relate something I saw on the news this morning. I was watching an interesting news report this morning about an AI conference in Singapore. Period. They had a number of robots giving a press conference. Period. These robots were fashioned after humans. The facial gestures and the eyes moved as a human face would move. Period. One of the questions that was posed to one of these AI robots was whether or not robots would ever replace politicians. Period. The answer was surprising. Period. New paragraph. I should say that I was surprised by the answer. Period. The robot responded by saying that yes, comma, robots would be better than politicians. Period. The argument that the robot made to back up this statement was that robots are impartial. Period. In other words, comma, AI is impartial. Period. I found this to be pretty interesting in that it's not true. Period. Let me explain. Period. What artificial intelligence does is collect information from millions of sources at incredibly fast speeds. Period. The information is then dissected and rearranged into a coherent answer. Period. Basically, the AI is the internet at warp speed. Period. Change that. Period. Basically, AI is Google at warp speed. Period. The problem is, that the AI is collecting information provided by humans. Period. While it's true that the AI then combs through the information to try to come up with a coherent answer, and in the process may discard erroneous information, comma, the AI may also discard factual information. Period. What that means is the information may or may not be impartial. Period. Oops. So when an AI robot makes the statement that it would be a better politician because it would be impartial, that, in itself, is a false statement. Period. That opens the door for a whole new era of what could be called political incorrectness. Period. Okay, so what I've done is I've created a premise based on something I saw on the news. And that premise may or may not be factual. Now, it's logical, but is it factual? That is not for me to decide. What I am laying out there, because I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything, I'm just throwing this out to um, my listeners, is that AI robots may in actuality be equal to humans. In fact, let me, as I talk this out, I'm thinking about the podcast. And again, this is just me talking. I'm not, there are a bunch of mistakes in this, and it doesn't really matter because I'm just getting this down. Um, 8 minutes is about 1,200 words. And right now we have 300. So we're about a quarter of the way through. So let me get that down, and then we will continue. It may make you think that AI robots are no different than humans. Period. There's an old saying in the computer tech world, comma, garbage in, garbage out. Period. If the AI robots or AI intelligence, or AI, I shouldn't say AI intelligence, that's redundant. If AI anything is working with human information, comma, that is information originally provided by humans, comma, then the question remains, can the output of that information be any better than the source of the information? Period. It's an interesting question because what AI is capable of doing is investigating, or I should say, well, investigating is not bad. Um, Analyzing information in an attempt to arrive at answers and solutions far beyond the capabilities of the human brain. Period. But the human brain is the engine that's pushing the AI. And if that is fundamentally, well, let's put that in. But the human brain, is the engine that's powering AI, period. The question you have to ask is how flawed will the answers be? How flawed will the answers be if the information going in is flawed to begin with? Is flawed to begin with, period. Question mark. Oops, excuse me. Just keeping track here because we have to keep this at a certain length. We have to keep this at a certain length. We have to keep this at a certain. We're going to try that again. And this shows how humans can be flawed. We have to keep this at a certain length um, in order for the software that puts this out on 5 different platforms to do its job correctly. So I have to operate within certain guidelines, meaning that these little sessions have to be 30 minutes or less. Anyway, in fact, I'm just going to change one little thing here while I'm thinking about it. And because I have a digital clock in front of me, and we're just going to change it. There we go. Okay. Um, when I said that you're peeking over my shoulder, you're peeking over my shoulder. That's exactly what I'm doing. This is not a polished lecture. It's not meant to be. What I'm trying to achieve here is for you to learn how to write or to help me write for the reader, people like you and me. And that's what I do in everything I write. I write for the reader. A lot of writers write for themselves. I don't. Yes, it has a lot of me in it, but I'm writing for the reader. And by the way, if you don't learn anything else from anything that I do here, always remember that. You're writing for the reader, not yourself. So, where were we? Um, that's about all we can do here at the moment. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to clean this up and um, of course, add to it with all the mistakes in it and everything. They're about 400 words. We've gone about a third of the way through, and it only took about 20 minutes. It doesn't take very long. But here's the thing. Um, yes, it's just a podcast, and yes, it's my opinion or a opinion. No, it's my opinion, and I'm leaving it open to you to decide whether it's your opinion or not. Um, but even a podcast needs information. So, what I'm going to do is I'm then going to go back and research that conference in Singapore and find some of the answers that they came up with and incorporate that into the podcast and maybe talk about how that would have an influence in other things outside of politics and broaden out the scope of the podcast a little bit. And I've got about 600 words left to do that with. Very quickly before we go here, because we are running out of time, what we're going to do is we're going to not share this. Stop sharing. You see my big head. And we're going to take a look at we're going to take a look at where is my stuff here. Okay. I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to look at YouTube. So if you go to YouTube, the channel on YouTube, you want to see how well
you
it works.
will
See, so basically, I've been sitting here working on
writing
writing
stuff
101 with the writer and a little bit of an
and
explanation of what
trying
it
to make
is.
stuff even better.
And you'll see some
Because I
videos.
was not happy with the stream.
Right? In this case, a video.
Was not happy with the quality of the
There are
stream.
more in there if you go to the
Why do I
actual
sound like
channel.
Dr. Seuss?
Um,
I was
I
not
wonder
happy
if I can
with
do
the
it this
quality.
way. We'll find out. Yes, it is. Here we go. And you'll also see some of these are some of my podcasts that you can also listen to on the website. Some other things that I've recorded, all on YouTube. And these are the live ones, Writing 101 with the Writer. So there's a lot of stuff on YouTube that you can just check out. Whenever I write something, or whenever I do one of these Writing 101 things, it's going to be on YouTube automatically. Anyway, with that, I do have to go because I'll be going over the limit and it won't be able to be distributed because I have to play within those restrictions. So, um, you can go to this page on YouTube, see them all, or you can check out the rest of it. The name of the channel is The Year of My Life VR. It's the same as the name of the book, the same as the URL of my website. I have a short memory, so I like to keep it that way. No, not really. Um, I like to keep everything the same. So that is it for today. Um, and I will see you next time. So until then, be good to yourself, be good to everyone else, and take care.